Hey there! Today we are doing day 4 countdown out of 30 for our yoga teacher training coming up. What that means is that when it hit 1 month until I co-lead my next yoga teacher training, full 200-hour program, I thought it would be a good idea to jump on a live video daily and talk about a few topics, both for upcoming wannabe yoga teachers and for those people who are just interested in learning more anyway. And I'm taking a lot of my information from my old notebook, my notebook of gold from my own 200-hour training back about 5 years ago, and then also some other notes and things that I've collected through the years. If you don't know who I am, or if this is your first time watching, my name is Ashley, and I am a yoga teacher, and I have been for 5 years, and I've been full-time yoga teacher, not owning a studio, just working my butt off to make the life of a yoga teacher be like my dream come true. So of course it's not about striking it rich or getting that job that's going to make me the most money, but it's to me the very, very most fulfilling. And the thing I love doing is helping people feel healthier, better. And for me, it's a lifestyle and a practice that has changed my life. So today we're moving on from what I've talked about the first few days. So the first couple days were about breath. The next day was about introducing the yamas and the niyamas. And I'm coming back to my notebook to bring you just a little tip from like page 3. It was still on the first day of yoga teacher training when we talked about stacking the instruction. And there's 2 things about that I want to talk about today when it comes to stacking the instruction. Okay. So the 2 things I want to talk about is, one is literally stacking the instruction, or when you're cueing as a yoga teacher. So these are yoga teacher tips. One of the best ways to cue alignment is from the ground up. So stacking the instruction, right? Easy. So you stack it starting with, maybe if you're in a standing pose, you start with where your feet are placed. Then you go up to the knees and your hips, and then your torso, then your shoulders and your arms and your head and your gaze. So it makes it easy as a teacher to work your way up a pose from the ground up. And of course, if you're like sitting on your butt, or if you're on your belly, you would start from the ground and start with the base, or what is grounded to the floor, and you work your way alignment up from that way. And that is a simpler way to think about it. If you tend to get tongue-tied, you don't really know what to say yet, you're like, okay, if you get into the pose, where's the lowest point of the ground? Let's talk about that. Where are your toes? Where should your knee be? What is stacked over one another? Where should your gaze be pointing? But work your way up. Makes it easy. Super great tip if you're working towards better cueing and alignment. And don't worry, in time, as you start talking more and teaching more classes, those cues are going to come more and more naturally. I remember the first time I did it, and I was trying to cue something, and I was like, and it was so hard. But again, in time and in practice, once you get those phrases, they're going to be so easy for you to come up with and just to roll off out of your mouth for certain poses. Okay, the second thing, so that was the simpler, literal stacking the instruction. We also, number 1 is that alignment from the floor up. And then stacking the instruction, also when it comes to, energetics, the 5 levels of practice. Stacking the instruction. So you can start with the physical. Number 1, this is from the levels of practice, stacking the instruction. So this is beyond just your physical. So your physical, you can start from the ground up. So start with the physical body. Stacking the instruction, very first thing most people feel is their body and what they're feeling physically when you get into a pose. Number 2 would be energetics. So the energy lines moving from in and out of your body, crown of the head, the lengthening through your arms. Then there is, number 3 is meridians. And I'm going to be honest, I don't even think I know what that means. Meridians. And then there's number 4 is your thoughts. And number 5 is conscious. So your consciousness. So physical, energetics, meridians, thoughts, and consciousness. So you can cue and use verbal cues to stack instruction, stack how students not should feel, but maybe what they're feeling, maybe draw attention to those different areas, those subtle areas. Oh yeah, so physical is your actual body and your muscles. Energetics is like your breath. Meridians are like the channels or the bandhas, so the locks and the pulling in of the belly and the chin lock and the constriction in the back of the throat and the lifting of the body. And then your thoughts and conscious. And that's it. Those are the 5 levels of practice. When it comes to stacking the instruction, you can add different things there. If you want to check out my cueing, I did foundational cues and additional cues. I know that cueing is a big thing that new yoga teachers struggle with. It's not the most worrisome or struggling thing with yoga teachers, but it is something that brand new teachers might want a little bit more practice with. So I do have a couple YouTube videos out there, or even videos on Facebook. They're the same thing. I uploaded to both platforms on foundational yoga pose cues and additional yoga pose cues. So you can go ahead and look for those. I'll probably link them in the description as well, or in a comment down below. Here are a couple additional little tidbits I'm going to tell you. So here I just write some notes. So this is what my notebooks look like, the 5 levels of practice right here. And then I had the
I'm looking for Daddy.
I think he's outside talking to Grandma. And let's see, and I had stacking the instruction, more on that here. So a few other little tips of advice is have a game plan, but don't be stuck to it. It's always a good little tip of advice. You want to become a master communicator. That's one of the yogic things you want to do. Actually, just in general, if you're speaking to people, you want to become a master communicator. So it's not all about being perfect at yoga. Actually, it's not ever about being perfect at yoga, or you don't have to be the greatest at yoga itself, but just being a good communicator is so important. And that's why I like to focus a lot on cueing and your technique around the words that you're saying. I don't profess to be a perfect communicator. In fact, I talk really fast, and I've always talked really fast, and it's something that I've consciously had to work on. I also talk with a higher pitched voice, or I have in the past, so lowering my tone. So there's even things to think about beyond the words you're saying, but how you're saying them. So lowering the tone of your voice so it's a little more calm, slowing down your voice or slowing down your words so that people have time to pay attention to what you're saying. And as my yoga teacher said here, no fart and glitter. That means no, wordy, flowery, glittery, like tell it how it is, but be gentle about it. But just know, hopefully that's understandable. And then here's the last little tidbit that I wrote in my notebook. Instead of telling, share from your own experience. Spoon feed the yoga a little bit at a time until students ask questions. Don't give direct answers. Just instead of saying a direct answer, say, try this, or today, try doing this, or what does this feel like? So question what the students question. Ask them how it feels and tell them to try something different. And teach what you know and from experience. But at the same time, you kind of gotta fake it till you make it. You're not gonna come out a perfect yoga teacher right away. So you have to bring that confidence, because you're oftentimes much more qualified than you think you are. Bring that confidence regardless of if you know everything. Teach what you know, share from experience, and let the practice take over the rest. That is today's little lesson from my yoga teacher training journal, stacking instruction, cueing guides, and I will link those in the comments or description above or below. Make sure that if you're watching this on YouTube, you're subscribing for more tips about yoga teacher training and just for fun yoga classes and information. And if you're here on Facebook, leave a comment, say hi. I always love seeing people in the different areas. So I will catch you again tomorrow for day 5 of our countdown. And now There's 3 spots left for our yoga teacher training program in June. It's at Alley Cat Yoga in Tomo, Wisconsin. And it's a 16-day intensive. So it'll be done in under 3 weeks with a little short break in between the 16 days, just to give a little bit of breathing time. That we found that worked really well in mine and Dave's yoga teacher training. We did a 2-week intensive with a week off in between. So ours is going to be 16 days with 3 or 4 days off in between as catch-up days, makeup days, or just, breathing days, so you can take a little bit of a break and just reconnect with yourself and your practice. Sound good? All right, so that's at alleycatyoga.net. My website, ashesyoga.com. Check them both out. Awesome. Again, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye now.